Good evening, everybody. It's April 2nd, 2020. My birthday. I turned 65 today. But I haven't put a video on in quite a while. But I decided to do this one because my friend Gil and I went to farm field here in Saginaw. And I've had other videos up of us at that farm field with the Native American materials that we find there. And the early historic period for Michigan, Judge Albert Miller had his homestead at this farm site along the river. I had intended to take my camera with us, and I did, but I forgot to put the SD card in it, so I couldn't do any pictures as we were finding these materials. But I'm excited about some of them that we found, and I'd like to share those with you now. So if you wait just a moment, sorry about that jumpy ending of the introduction. We found a lot today, and a lot of it is just kind of mundane stuff, but there are some really awesome pieces here. For example, this piece. This is the rounded bottom of a late woodland pot, and I found these before, but it was always up in Saginaw. You can see the cord marking on it, and it'll change color as it dries out. Right now, it's kind of a tannish brown gray, but that's a significant and interesting piece. And towards the end of the video, I will put a picture on of what the pot probably had looked like. Next is a small artifact, and I'm going to see if I can focus on it here. This is an earplug worn in the earlobe, and one of the more rare artifacts I've found here in Saginaw, or in Michigan at all. I've never found one before. It's an interesting little piece. Actually, Gil Albert, my friend, found this, and an item of personal adornment that would probably be worn by a man rather than a woman, and a very interesting piece. All right, now another piece that's really interesting is this. This is a little like bird point. I'm trying to get it so I can get. It is notched on both sides. Nice point, very broad base. Now, some might say it was a drill, but no, it was a bird point. See if I set it here, if I can get more of the, there we go. I think that's a better picture of it. Very nice piece. While they're called bird points, they were used primarily as spears, and to spear frogs, fish, what have you. Next is this item. It is a broken triangular point, probably a Lavina point from the late woodland. It would come to, to the point there. It still could have been used, though, after being broke as an end scraper. And because these people wasted nothing, that would have been a beautiful Lavina point, though, because most of them I've seen and found are a lot smaller than this. So, nice item that we found there. There are also a few late woodland pottery shards up here. Don't usually find any pieces very big at the site because they've been cracked up over the years by farming. And then, of course, I showed you this already, but this was an extraordinary find. The base of a clay pot, late woodland, I believe. There are lots of other pieces here that are quite fascinating too. Now, this piece is very intriguing to me because it is brick, and probably made on site in the 1830s by Albert Miller. I'll show you some more of the bricks pieces that he made and that we found today shortly. But this has been very carefully pressure flaked along there. Now, if I'm assuming correctly, this would be a commingling of cultures because a Native American Indian would have taken this piece of brick made by a white man and formed it into a very good handheld chopper or knife. So here are some other pieces of the pottery, or not pottery, excuse me, but of the clay bricks that I believe Judge Miller made at his site. The color, this isn't dry enough yet, or are the other pieces. The color will be very similar to the chopper that I just showed you side by side there. All right, and then, interestingly too, a tooth that probably it could have been from a bobcat, cougar. You can tell by the graininess of the part that goes into the root that it is quite an old piece. Now, there was also a small piece of pottery here that I wanted to point out, because if you can see this, it's very small, but it has a slight inward curvature, which would have made a very small vessel, which leads me to believe that this was probably part of a pipe for smoking tobacco, of which the natives in this area grew many different, or gathered many types of plants to use as tobacco. It's in more recent history called kinnikinnick. That's what they called the native tobacco that they made. Let's see. A lot of this is debitage, or waste product from the creation of other tools. And this piece is also, but it also has a very sharp edge, and it's been slightly pressure flaked along the edge and used as a knife. It could actually have been hefted for use. This one is similar looking, but I'm not sure if that is an actual artifact or just a natural stone. Now, as we look through here, this particular piece could have been, it's a piece of debitage, which could have very easily been used as a triangular arrowhead, a type that was quite popular in the late woodland, which is 500 to 1400 years ago. Here also is this is a small knife made from the outer cortex of a chert nodule. And it has a protrusion here, which I believe was used to attach it to a handle, probably wooden or bone handle, and used as a knife. Here's a piece too that's very unique, because it actually, the pressure flaking on this is very profound and looks almost like one of our modern day saws would look. I don't think that's happenstance. I think that one of the Native American men took again waste product that was laying around and fashioned that. Probably it would have been much bigger. I mean, it's a broken piece, obviously. Okay, let's look over this. As here we have a small graving spur. They were used They were used to engrave on bone or wood or even stone to mark off, where it had to be chipped, cut, whatever. And they could also be used for making decoration, ornamentation on pottery. And so as we go down here, let's slowly pan these. These are all fairly small pieces. There were some large pieces that we recovered also. Here is a grinding stone, very flat surface, heavy piece of stone. And you can tell by the edges, see, that it has been used for grinding. You can see how rough the edge of it is from use, and the top of it so smooth from use. This piece is going to take a little more investigation. I believe that it was a nutting stone, and one that hadn't been used very much. But I'll have to come back to that, another time after I'm done investigating its true purpose. This piece, I believe, is part of a pestle. Look at how the bottom of it looks. It's been used, flattened. The top part has been broken off, but the roundedness of the bottom and the heaviness of the stone makes me believe that it was a pestle. Now here's a nutting stone that has the depression in it from placing walnuts, acorns, whatever, onto the surface of this and breaking them open with another stone. And after so much of that takes place, then a depression is born. This one would have had been used considerably. And again, on the edges, you can see that it's been used for grinding. Very nice piece. But a heavy piece, indeed. Then here's a notched stone found by Gil. And a lot of people interpret these as hafted hammer stones, but some of them may be, but I believe that these are net weights. We have found many net weights at the site next to the river, so you'd expect to find them right there because of the water. And let's see, back here, this is another flat stone that I believe was used not that much, but you can see along the edge where it was used for grinding. And I believe this would have been a nutting stone, and that they would have been more defined with a pit after it had been used for years. But this one obviously hadn't been used that long. This one I have to do more research on. I'm not sure if that's an artifact or a natural formation. As well as with this one. There were things about the shape that make me feel that it may have been served some functional purpose to the Native Americans that lived at this field. But I have to wash that off and do a little more research on it. Now, we'll move over to this side, because these are all historic period artifacts. 1830s. Sorry about that, but my trusty old spot lamp clamp let go of the table. But anyways, up here, these are all pieces of red brick. Now, brick was, of course, used a lot, I mean, mainly in the construction of buildings back then. Usually business-related buildings, but a lot of times from houses too. These are different from other brick finds that we've made. The color is different. It is not as well fired, and I could really believe that Judge Miller in the 1830s made this clay on site, or made these bricks on site from local clays that either he collected or employed someone to collect. Perhaps Native American people collected it for him. Hard to say. As we move down, there are a lot of pieces of stoneware, crockery, and their value is in learning what was used at the Miller home site in the 1830s. This is a nice rim piece. It was kind of a cream color on the outside and brown on the inside. Here's another piece. This would have been from the top of the vessel, and this lip here, there would have been a top that would fit on there, making it a closed jar type container. Here's another piece similar to this, but this has a double line incised in it, as you can see, probably for simplistic ornamentation. This one though is same color inside as it is on the out. Here's another rim shard. This one is a little bit different. It's a light yellowish material, brown on the inside. I've found other pieces of this at the site, but they're not quite as abundant as the grayish stoneware that we find there. Let's see, here's an interesting piece of pottery. It has ceramics stoneware that has part of a cobalt blue decoration on it. Not very much, but we have found in the past, and I've shown in other videos, pieces that have really beautiful designs on them from that era. Bottom of a glass bottle, again from the Judge Miller homestead. This is a neat piece of pottery too, because see, let me change hands here because I'm causing too much shadow. But you'll see that it's almost like pimples or dimples, or no, pimples upraised on the surface of this piece. So that would have been interesting to see exactly what that one would have looked like. This is the base of a stoneware crock, part of the base I should say. And there were some nice larger pieces of pottery of stoneware at the site. There were a lot of little pieces that were interesting too. This is from one of the yellow stoneware pieces, similar to the rim shard up here that I showed you a moment ago. There's a really cool little, see if I can focus in on it. That isn't going to do it, is it? It's just a tiny, tiny little shard, and it has a green leaf on it and a brown vine. So it would have been ornamented nicely. This looks like Bennington type pottery. This brown piece, probably part of a bowl. The backside has exfoliated, so we can't really tell how thick that one was. And let's see what else is here that's interesting. There was a few handmade square cut nails, which are pretty common on most sites of this nature. And up here is one that had a red decoration on it that would have been probably quite pretty when it was whole. This one has a little bit of blue around the rim, and so that basically is. Oh no, I forgot this bottle. Although it's a modern piece, the design on it is really interesting. I've never seen that before. Okay, that's what we found. Hold on, sorry for the noise there. That's about it for this time. Hope you've enjoyed it. The artifacts are some very nice ones that Gil and I both found, and we will be doing it again, and hopefully this next time I'll remember to take the camera. Following behind this will be a number of photographs from the internet. They show how the earplugs were used, and what else? How the earplugs were used. Yeah, my mind is blank. But I turned 65 today, so it's no wonder my mind goes blank from time to time. Alright, well, I thank you for joining me tonight with a look at these artifacts, Native American and historic relics. Thanks. God bless you.